Let's get started. Week number 2, NFL Draftkings lineup. Let's start at quarterback. My favorite quarterback for this week is going to be Dak Prescott. Dak is going to be going up against Atlanta, who has been a sieve on defense for the last 2 years. This is going to be a great bounce back spot for Dak, who can get it done with his arm and his legs. So, with that said, let's move over to the second favorite quarterback of mine for this week, Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill is going to go against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, Jacksonville, also a sieve on defense, but for different reasons. They've lost major parts of their defense. Based on week one's results, I know you can't always use that, but in this case, I will, because they've shown last year that they were a sieve on defense, and I believe they're going to be one on defense this year too. I believe that Tennessee will be able to get the running game going. Once they're able to get the running game going, they'll be able to get the play-action passing game going, and if that's the case, Ryan Tannehill will have a very, very efficient game, thus leading to an explosion of points. Number 3 quarterback that I like for this week is Jared Goff. Jared Goff will be going to the East Coast against the Philadelphia Eagles, who are also a sieve on defense. Realize the theme here. So I think this is going to be a great bounce back spot for Jared Goff too as well. He should be much more efficient here and see a lot more open targets. Moving over to running back. My favorite running back for this week is none other than Derrick Henry. Just like I said before, Derrick Henry, I believe, will be able to get the running game for the Tennessee Titans going. He'll be able to run downhill, and if that's the case, then I could see him having a ceiling game here. 20 plus carries, maybe multiple touchdowns. Aaron Jones is also a running back that I have my eye on. Now, the thing that you worried about coming into the season was A.J. Dillon and the fact that they still had Williams on the team. You didn't know they were going to do a committee. Yeah, they are going to do a committee, but if you look at the results from week 1, it may not be much of a committee. Aaron Jones rushed 16 times and had 6 targets, 20 plus opportunities there. Sign me up. Drake would also be a running back that I'd look into. I think he's going to be similar to Aaron Jones from this perspective. Dual threat, rushing, receiving, and he has the ability to score touchdowns. So Drake would be someone that I would look into too as well. His price point's at $5,900. Now, if you want to have some salary savings, I think a good option that can get a lot of opportunities for you would be Robinson with the Jaguars. Based on the first week's results and the injuries to that backfield, he seems to have a stranglehold on the rushing opportunities. 16 times. He actually had 17 opportunities, but if you look into it further, the other running backs, I don't believe one running back had a rushing opportunity besides Robinson, so that says a lot for me. Wide receivers. My favorite wide receiver for this week is none other than Cooper Kupp. I think that Cooper Kupp over Robert Woods would be the correct decision this week. Now, I think Robert Woods is really the alpha when it comes to the amount of targets, but the one thing that Cooper has over Woods to me is the red zone. When Goff is down in the red zone, the wide receiver that he's going to target is going to be Cooper Kupp, and that it has been that way for the last few years. So that's why I would go Cooper Kupp over Woods. Because between the two, if they were to get equal amount of targets, I believe that Cooper Kupp would be able to hit his ceiling more so than Woods because of the red zone opportunities. Amari Cooper is also a wide receiver that I think has an opportunity to have a ceiling game this week going up against the Atlanta Falcons Civ on defense. And based on the first week's results, Cooper is still the alpha there. We were concerned about Judah taking away a lot of his targets. That really didn't happen. And coupled with the fact that they lost their starting tight end, I think there's going to be a little bit more targets to be spread around between the three wide receivers. A.J. Brown, for the reasons that I mentioned earlier, is also a wide receiver that I'd look into. Like I said, when that defense comes up and they start biting more on the play action game, A.J. Brown has a chance to get behind that defense and catch a long one. And if that happens, ceiling game. Moving on from there, if you're looking to save some salary, I think a few good options would be Dante Johnson of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Youngster, second year here, good route runner, some good speed, and I think he is going to get a better relationship with Ben. And once he does that, I think he's going to be a regular in terms of being a higher salary guy that has the capabilities of hitting a ceiling game or two. So I think this could be one of those weeks here because Denver, I think, will be focused on stopping Schuster more so than Dante Johnson. Paris Campbell is also a wide receiver I'd look into here with the Indianapolis Colts, and the reason is solely based on Philip Rivers. Philip Rivers has his eye set on throwing the ball to his running backs and his slot wide receivers. Paris Campbell is the slot wide receiver with the Colts. So that means he will have a good share of the targets, a good share of the opportunities. Plus, Paris Campbell is a speed wide receiver. He's fast, he's shifty. All it takes is one broken tackle and Paris Campbell is gone 40 yards down the field. And if that happens, Paris Campbell has a chance to make your day at the price point of $4,500. Another wide receiver that I'd look into would be Mike Williams at the price point of $4,200. He had a shoulder injury. He was able to play through it. The Chargers actually did throw a lot of deep balls to him. He wasn't able to reel them in, but there's an opportunity there, especially playing against the Kansas City Chiefs. If garbage time occurs, there's an opportunity for a quick score with Williams. He's going to be the guy that gets the deep targets. Now, if you really are looking to save money, the lowest I would go would be Dante Robinson. So here, Robinson it was listed as being the fourth wide receiver, or at least you heard that throughout the training camp period. Well, when the season began, based on snaps and the amount of targets, he's actually the third wide receiver here. Now, when you think about it in terms of targets, he's actually the fourth option. But everyone is going to have their eyes on Hill, Kelsey, and Watson. All he has to do is slip behind the defense this one time. That's it. And that's a chance I'd be willing to take here. As for tight end, favorite tight end is Tyler Higbee. Think about this. Week 1, he didn't have very many opportunities to show what he was capable of doing. But if you look back to how he ended last year, 2019, he had a period towards the end of the year where he had 4 100-yard rushing games back to back. I don't even know if that's ever happened for a wide receiver or if he tied the record or not, but that's amazing. So I don't think it's going to happen all the time. Obviously, it didn't happen week 1, but he has it in him. He has the ability for a ceiling game or two, multiple ceiling games. So against Philly, I could see him having that opportunity to have one of those ceiling games. Defense, I got two defenses that I'm interested in, and I'll be really quick with those defenses. Not the Falcons, the Vikings, and the Cowboys. So the Vikings, I really like the Vikings for one reason and one reason only: the opponent, obviously, and not really the team as a whole, but the quarterback. The quarterback is Philip Rivers. Now, Philip Rivers has been a turnover machine, especially the last 4 years. The last 4 years, he's averaged 15 interceptions per year. Last year, he had 20. Plus, he's the Statue of Liberty. So I think there's going to be an opportunity for sacks and interceptions here, turnovers. The defense at a lower price point that I'm really interested in is the Cowboys. And the reason is because they're playing Atlanta. There's going to be a lot of balls in the air, maybe 50 plus passes from the Atlanta side. It's a lot of balls, a lot of chances of getting turnovers. I'm going to take my chance there. Plus, defense. Dallas's defense in particular is much improved. Their defensive line is really beefed up, and they got some really good players on it. I like their linebacking core and their cornerbacks. So that is a defense that I would invest in. Now, for our flex spot at 5,300, I think we should go ahead and focus on the game where we have our main stack at. Our main stack of Jared Goff, Cup, and Higbee. So to finish off that stack and bring it back, I think we should go with Djax.